From the Siouxland News Studio, the Wayne State Basketball Coaches Show with Sports Director Jordan Furby.
And welcome into another edition of the Wayne State Coaches Show. We're joined, as always, by women's head coach Chris Kielsmeyer. Chris, thanks for joining us again this week.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us again.
Absolutely.
Jordan.
Well, we switched sets a little bit for a little bit of a technical difficulty here, but we're still going to talk about the great start that the women are on once again this week. 2-0 they went last weekend, picking up a big win over St. Cloud State. Kind of a tricky team St. Cloud State was because they had just knocked off Northern State the week before. You guys picked up a 75-67 win. And real quickly, this was the 10th season that Wayne State has had 20-plus wins and the 4th in the last 5 under you. Talk a little bit about just that success that you've had so well with these women over the past 5 years.
Well, to me, the really neat thing about that is we didn't even know it. We didn't talk about it.
You're so in the zone.
It was just, we're just so focused on the future and trying to create a special ending to a special start. Somebody told me last night that we were the first team in the country that got to 20 wins this season on Division II women's basketball, and I didn't even know that. And so I think we've just created a culture and an environment that's always about the future and always about trying to win the next game, and just do your job in the moment, win the game, and move on. And that's just the neat thing it is to coach our players, and our program just really has that expectation right now, and that takes time to develop. And it didn't happen overnight, but we're at that point with our players, and that's the neat thing, that our players are really all about trying to win the game and just trying to win the next game and not too concerned about the past. And that's a really neat thing to be able to have as a coach.
And you guys did pretty well for yourself last Friday night. Like we said, 75-67 win over St. Cloud State, led in scoring by Ashton Yossi with 21 points. Ellen Hansen had a great night, 13 points, 11 rebounds, and kind of some close moments in the second half. But it's nice to, maybe have those close moments, because when you get into the tournament, you're going to be faced with those situations. So these teams that are playing you guys, they know that you're a top 10 team, and they're never going to say die. So it was kind of good to see. I know you don't like to see the close moments, but the girls never stopped fighting.
Well, we knew going into the game that St. Cloud State was one of the best teams we played of the year, and we were going to have to play really good and better than probably what we had been playing. And our players really rose up and really understood that that was the case that night, and didn't necessarily play great in the first half, but we were great defensively for a long period of time in the second half, which really won us the ball game. Not only was our defense good to prevent them from scoring, but we were able to turn a lot of our defense into offense, which every great team that I've ever coached has been really good at that. This team this year has struggled with that, and we need to get better at forcing turnovers and being able to get shots in transition off of those turnovers, and that was in play big on Friday night, and it was a big reason why we won the ball game. So it was great to see our development there and to get better at a weakness, and that we've got some other weaknesses and some things that we need to get better at as well. So that'll be the focus for this week, to try to clean that up.
And then the next night on Saturday, you guys respond with another win, 81-69 win over Minnesota Duluth. Season high 62.5% shooting from the field, including 12 of 18 from three-point range. You guys were hot, but I'm sure the stat that you're most important, probably most looking to improve, was the 21 turnovers. It was kind of a tale of two stats in that game.
We had 21 turnovers, only forced 11, so we were minus 10 turnover margin. We gave up 22 offensive rebounds and only got 2, so we were minus 20 offensive rebounding. You just can't have stats like that and really feel that you played a good game. We shot the ball really well, and we did enough on the defensive end to be able to win the game. We gave up 75 shots and only shot 40 on our end. We were minus 35 shot attempts and still won the game. That's not going to happen very often. So we've got areas that we need to improve on. We understand that. Our players understand that. And the neat thing is we haven't come close to peaking yet. I think there's a lot of really good teams in the country that have probably said that they've played some of their better basketball or their best basketball already, even though they may not admit that. They probably realize that. For us, we know that we've got a lot higher level in us, and the challenge is to be able to try to find that, and that's what we're working towards each day. And
it's never bad. It's kind of nice that you got that shooting, because they had a couple rallies that made it close in the first half and then again in the second half. So without that shooting, there's some things to work on for the girls still.
Yeah, they had the preseason player of the year in the North, and Katrina Newman, and she was making plays all over the place. She's a senior and is really trying to end her career at a high level, and almost had a triple-double on us on Saturday. So she played great, and they're a really good team. And the neat thing for our players is they understand that they're going to get most teams' best effort. You got to come ready to play when you're putting Wayne State uniform on, because you're going to get teams really wanting to beat you. And our players embrace that. They understand that and get that, and so that's a big part of the week for us, is trying to prepare for that kind of mindset. And it's just it's really exciting time of year for us.
Absolutely. Well, coming up next, we'll talk with Coach Kielsmeyer about Wayne State's 4-game homestand, including 2 at home at Rice Auditorium this week. That's coming up next after the break.
Siouxland News presents the Wayne State Coaches Show on Fox 44.
And welcome back. We're joined by women's head coach Chris Kielsmeyer. Chris, you guys are back in Wayne for 2 straight weekends. It's kind of nice. You get 4 straight games at home in Rice Auditorium. You guys played Upper Iowa last night. Now you guys get to face Winona State this evening. Not the greatest season that they're having this season, but like you said, every game from here on out is just going to be an important one, especially looking at the conference standings for you guys. You got to bring it almost every night.
Well, this past weekend, teams were 13-3 at home. There was only 3 road wins the entire conference slate, and we had 2 of those 3. So, we realize how difficult it is to win on the road, but we also understand that you need to win at home, and when you're at home, you need to win those games. And Winona is a team that has really kind of been like a Concordia for us, a team that always plays us really well. They understand how to attack our zone really effectively. They shoot a lot of threes, and they're difficult areas to cover on the court, and so we realize that this is going to be a difficult game for us tonight. And like I said, with it being at home, we really need to be at our best and really need to find a way to win the game. And we've positioned ourselves to really have a shot to do something special here at the end. And to do that, you've got to win at home, and we understand that. And
just looking at this, looking at the standings, I know when you get to this time of the year, every game is important, but really it's an emphasis on the standings. I know you're not looking too much at them, but a 2-game lead in the division over Minnesota State and Concordia St. Paul, and then a 1-game lead for the whole conference over Northern State. And Minnesota State and Concordia St. Paul, they're right there. So, you guys really do have to be at your best every game because they're kind of waiting for that fall. So, as you mentioned, getting those home wins are the utmost importance.
Well, we've talked about on this show a lot, with our players a lot, that there's a lot at stake every time that we take the floor. But we've also tried to downplay that as well. You can't downplay it in February when you're in the spot that we're in. They get the fact that it's right there for the taking, and all you got to do is go and get it. Something like that is not going to be handed to you. Something like that is months and really years of work trying to come to a culmination here in the next couple weeks. So let's embrace it. Let's not worry about each play being for that. Let's just go out and play each play the way you need to win the game, and that needs to be the focus. And some individuals are really good at that. So other individuals are, oh my gosh, this is the shot that may or may not win us the championship or something. So you need to try to be able to find that balance in your head of just eliminating the fact that there is so much at stake right now and just go out and play the game. And that's easier said than done, but you can hopefully just try to guide your players as best as they can with it, and hopefully they get it and they just go out and play. And that will be my motto for every time that we go out and play this year. The rest of the year is just to embrace the moment and have fun. Just go play the game that you love and try to be at your best, because I really believe that if we're at our best, it's going to be good enough to win the game. So let's make it about Wayne State. Let's just embrace trying to be the best that we can be, and that'll be enough.
At the same time, though, by no means have you guys, you guys have had glimpses of your best, but we've talked a couple times in this show. We've seen it a couple times too. I think 2 different times you guys have shot season high percentage in shooting. But we both have thought maybe you haven't peaked yet. You guys haven't hit maybe that stride that everybody always talks about. There's still a ceiling for this. I don't think you guys have even hit the ceiling yet.
Well, the neat thing is our players understand that. Our players really believe when I go in the locker room after the game and tell them that, we won. There's a lot of good things here, a lot of good things to be proud of. Ultimately, you won the game, so you're really happy about that. But there's so many areas of improvement. There's so much higher level of play that we can play at, and they embrace that. They know that, and that's neat to coach a team that really gets that they're not always like, we can't ever make this coach happy. Why? We win by 20 and he's still upset. Our players get that there's so much room for improvement, and that's the neat thing for us, that we're trying to find that what's the little special something that's going to allow us to be able to be at our best. And you want to be at your best this time of year, and some teams can figure it out and some can't. So that's the challenge for us, is to try to be one of those teams that figures it out.
And that's rare too for young student athletes to always keep that desire and that want, because so often you can kind of maybe get complacent with winning, but they seem hungry for more every week.
Well, it goes back to what we talked about right here at the start. Our players expect to win, and our players expect to do a lot of really special things in our program. And winning 20 games may be great for some programs, but for us, we didn't even know it. We didn't even talk about it. It was nothing that was anything that was said amongst ourselves. It was stuff that was being told to us. So that was pretty neat for me to know that that's where we're at as a program.
It's kind of nice to keep those blinders on and just run your race.
And that's what we're trying to do right now. That's the focus.
Alrighty, Coach, thanks for joining us. We'll see you here in a couple of blocks. But coming up next, we'll hear from the Wayne State men's head coach Brian Dolan on the Wildcats week and the week ahead. Coming up next. And welcome back. We're joined by Wayne State men's head coach Brian Dolan now. Coach, looking at the last weekend, tough weekend for the boys. You guys played a couple really good teams in St. Cloud and Minnesota Duluth, actually. Looking at the game on Friday, just a tough 90-63 loss to St. Cloud. 9 first-half threes for that team. I mean, they just kind of came out hot from the beginning and took a big lead at you guys at halftime, almost a tough deficit to make up.
Yeah, it was. They came out from the start. They knocked us around pretty good, and we talk about this a lot. Academically, we should probably talk about it during the season. Well, it's tough to recover from a bad start, and when you get down like we did early against a really good basketball team like St. Cloud, and they're kind of on the verge of turning the corner to being really good. And they got some young players, and those guys really stepped up Friday night, played well. And I was a little disappointed in our effort. I don't think we guarded as well as we have all year. Our energy level, our intensity level wasn't quite there. We're number 1 in the league in defending the three-point line, and that's 3 games in a row now that we've been abysmal guarding the three-point line. So there's obviously something that we're not doing the same that we were. And watching a lot of film, trying to figure that out, and we still have plenty of basketball left this season. So if we can find out what we're doing wrong and do it different than what we were doing earlier in the year and fix it and get back to the way we're doing things, and we'll have a chance down the stretch to win a few more games.
And in the first half, I mean, they just seemed like they were knocking everything down. Second half, you guys played them dead even. I mean, it was 44-44 in the second half. But like we said, that was almost an insurmountable lead to kind of overcome at halftime. What was kind of different? Did you see, and what did you say maybe at halftime that kind of sparked that one in the second half?
I didn't say a whole lot, and I'm not trying to put our guys down by any stretch, but they didn't play their starters a whole lot in the second half. You're up, what was it, 46-19 at halftime or whatever it was, and of course they're gonna, they were a little bit more relaxed second half. Our guys still came out and played hard, and that's never a question about giving the effort, but the intensity level and the focus and the execution, the consistency that you have to show night in and night out, play after play, possession by possession. It just wasn't there from us from the tip on Friday night, but again, the guys didn't lay down. They kept fighting, and we played a little bit better second half, but it a little too late.
Yeah. Coming up the next thing on Saturday, you guys go at Minnesota Duluth. Ran into another tough team. They were shooting 65% on the game. It was close at halftime, 26-23. What was the speech you gave to the boys at the halftime? Because you guys were right in the game. It was a nice response.
Yeah, we went into the game talking about throwing that first punch and landing that first punch, and I thought both in the first half both teams were kind of like filling each other out a little bit. Neither team really swung at one another, and it was kind of back and forth. We got off to a little bit of a slow start, but we were still defending, which kept us in the game. And from that point forward, the first half it was back and forth. We took the lead, I think, at one point in time by a point on Ryan Wilson's three-pointer, and they did a nice job of battling back and taking a three-point lead at halftime. At halftime, we just talked about, hey, no one's throwing that punch yet. Let's go out there and let's be the team that throw that first punch in the second half. And we might have thrown it, but it didn't land because Duluth definitely landed a 1-2 combination there start to half, and they got us back on our heels, and we just couldn't get anything going. And sometimes that happens, but the common denominator in what's going on right now is we're just not guarding, and it's happened every game. So we're not running into, it's not 3 games in a row we've run into hot teams. Yeah. Obviously, we're the common denominator there, and we're doing something to allow them to be hot and make open shots, and we've got to fix that. We're not going. It's going to be the same thing this weekend if we don't fix the problem. So we'll practice, and hopefully we've worked on it enough that we can improve upon that, and we get back to guarding like we have been all year.
Now I gotta imagine it's frustrating, but at the same time, you can fix it. It's not like teams are just all of a sudden when they play you, they're shooting lights out. You can control that with the defense and stuff you play. Is that kind of the thing you're stressing?
Yeah, I mean, if that had been the issue all year, Zebras doesn't change their stripes. I mean, if we've been bad defensively all year, then we would be dealing with it. Well, we've been pretty good defensively. Yeah. That's very consistent for us anyway, and that's kind of gone away here the last couple of weekends. And so, yeah, it is fixable because we know we can do it. We have done it. For a majority of the season, we have done it. So, that's our main goal right now in practices is improving that. And if we have fixed it, then we'll see the results down the stretch.
All righty. Well, Wayne State now hoping for some home cooking as they return home for 4 straight games. We'll talk with Coach Dolan about the 4-game homestand coming up after the break. And welcome back to the Wayne State Coaches Show. We're joined by Wayne State men's head coach Brian Dolan. Coach, a very special game for you personally on Friday. You guys welcomed in Upper Iowa this actually last night, and just talk a little about kind of the build-up to that game. I mean, obviously it's the team that you just coached last year. You kind of took them from the D3 to the D2 level and really turned them around, took them to the postseason for the first time in history last year. Just talk about kind of the build up to that game, because I had to imagine it's got to be pretty special for you personally.
Well, it's unique that we don't play them until this late in the season. We get them twice in 3 weekends or 3 weeks. So, you know, it's special. I mean, a lot of those guys on the team, or actually everybody on that team that my staff and I recruited there, and really close with a lot of the upperclassmen, and it meant a lot to my family and to my kids. You know, my son Pryor is still very, very attached to Joey Woods, and Tucker Wednesday, another kid that graduated a year ago, but Joey's a senior on this year's team. And so it's nice, and to see them have some success. They're having a good season, especially with some freshmen getting a lot of minutes. And you know, and I got some good relationships with my son Major, who's just 2. His babysitter plays on the women's team, and you know, her mom came into town and actually spent the night with us, and so that's good. So there's good relationships there, and that's part of why we do what we do. But at the end of the day, when that ball goes up, it's all about winning and competing, and you know, trying to go out there and get another win. So you know, when we're not playing them, I'm cheering for them. They're such great kids, but hopefully, you know, we get a chance to go back there in 2 weeks, Fayette, and you know, get another chance to beat them. So it's a special night, but you know, game's still the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking ahead to tonight, though, you guys get a very good Winona State team coming in. They're 13-3 right now in the NSIC, second in the division. Really just a good team. You guys got a big challenge ahead of you tonight.
Well, it's not very often you can say this about a coach, but Mike Leaf, who's won 2 national championships at Winona since I've been in the conference, is one of the most underrated coaches in America. I mean,
yeah, you don't say that very often.
No, you don't. But I mean, everybody always talks about, well, he won. You know, people get recruiting and coaching confused, because good coaches can also recruit. And it used to always be he won because of his talent. Well, how did that talent get there? He recruited it. But he's had some of the best players in the country in the past and won. And some of the years he's had solid talent and good talent, but not that dominant player, and he still wins. And that's what this year's team is. They're a good basketball team. They're very well coached. Their spacing offensively is just unbelievable. It's the best I've seen, and the things that he gets them to do, and as hard as he gets them to play, and they play together and they do things. I mean, geez, the guy's that's why he's won 2 national championships. And you know, you can have the best players, you're still not going to win. You know, you still got to coach them. So I think that, you know, they're a very well coached team, and they deserve what their record, and they have an opportunity again to go to postseason play again. You know, they won the regional last year, beat Mankato at Mankato in overtime at the NCAA regional championship game. So I think it'll be those 2 teams out of our league anyway. I haven't seen a lot of the MIAA schools, but those 2 will probably be representing our league again in the regional, and you know, it'll be interesting to see if it comes down to those 2 again.
Absolutely. Now looking a little bit ahead, you guys have 2 straight weekends at home. It's kind of nice to have 4 straight games at Rice Auditorium. Is this kind of the moment you guys think that maybe this is where you can turn it around, kind of getting that home cooking?
Yeah, you know, again, you know, that's all great. It really is, and playing at home is awesome. I really enjoy it because I get to spend, you know, sleep in my own bed and spend time with my family. But at the end of the day, we got to play better. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're playing on Mars or you're playing in your local community center gym. You got to play better if you want to win. If you're playing 2-on-2 pickup basketball, you got to play well to win. You know, you're going to go out there and play in the 8th grade conference championship game. You got to play well to win. Well, if we want to win an NSIC game, we got to play well. We got to guard. We got to be consistent in what we're doing, and we got to find that in order to, whether it's on Mars or in our gym at Rice Auditorium, we got to play better. If we do, then we have a chance to win games.
Do you think the pieces seem to be there, because we've seen glimpses of how good this team can be? It's just a matter of getting it all to kind of jive on one night.
On one night, you know, one night we guard, we don't make shots. It's a really bad combination when we don't guard and we don't make shots, which is kind of what happened last weekend. So, you know, hopefully we shoot it better this weekend. Hopefully we execute better this weekend. Hopefully, we're a team. You know, we got to play together as a team. We can't guard one-on-one. We can't score one-on-one. We got to score as a team. Our assist to made basket ratio has got to be pretty good, and our team defense. I mean, we need to guard. We got to have a wall there, and we got to guard together as a group, and that's what we got to do more consistent to win games.
Alrighty, thanks, Coach. I appreciate it. Coming up next, we'll bring Coach Kielsmeyer back on, and we'll get the coach's thoughts on the game tonight against Winona State. Stay with us. And we're back for the final minute of the show, joined by both coaches. Chris, we'll start with you, getting 3 keys to victory tonight over Winona State.
Well, we've got to defend the 3 ball. They always shoot a lot of threes against us, and they always run a difficult offense to be able to defend those threes. So we need to cover out on the perimeter outstanding. We've got to rebound better. And we've been out-rebounded 4 straight games in a row. And the first 15, 16 games of the year, we were only out-rebounded 1 time. So we've got to rebound better. On the offensive end, we just got to continue to make shots, but we got to cut down on our turnovers. We turned the ball over too much this past weekend. So we need to defend them, we need to rebound, and we need to take care of the ball offensively and get good shots and step up and hit those shots.
All righty, and Brian, 3 keys to get the win tonight.
It's all about us. We've got to guard as a team, as one unit on the defensive end, and you know, contain the dribble drive as well, close out hard on the 3-point line, run them off there, make them shoot those 15-foot contested jumpers that we want, and offensively we got to make open shots. And if there's a third key, I guess we just got to be more consistent for 40 minutes on both ends of the floor. So, I mean, it's all about us right now.
All right, gentlemen, well, best of luck to both of you tonight. 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock is what time they tip off. And that is going to do it for the Wayne State Coaches Show. We'll see you next week. And as always, go Cats.
This has been the Wayne State Coaches Show, presented by Siouxland News on Fox 44.